Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice for radio. So today, I am showing you another exciting new card from the upcoming Shining Legends expansion. It's Reshiram. No, not that Reshiram, although, oh my goodness, is it surprisingly similar. Reshiram is a fire Pokemon, which means you're hitting weakness on Lurantis, Decidueye, and Vespiquen, which is nice. It has 130 HP, which is good, but it does mean it hasn't received any boost in HP in the years since Black and White came out. The retreat of 3 is large, but that does mean you can use a heavy ball, so it's not the end of the world. And it's weak to water, which means Greninja and anything playing Aqua Patch is going to be slightly annoying for you. Now, the fact that you're a basic actually really helps you here, because you can use Fighting Fury Bout, you can use Max Elixir, as always, but you can also use Volcanion EX to use Steam Up so your attacks do an extra 30 damage. That's going to be crucial because you're a non-GX, which means you're only giving up one prize if you get KO'd. Volcanion, good friend of Reshiram right now. And of course, being a fire Pokemon means you can use Kiawe from the upcoming Burning Shadows expansion, search your deck for 4 fire energy and attach it to one of your Pokemon. Now, this is not a mid to late game card, but certainly this is a very good option for turn 1 if you go first. You can't attack on turn 1 if you go first, so you Kiawe free energy onto a Reshiram and you're ready to smash going forward. I like it. So, what about his attacks? Well, the first attack is Outrage, and you might remember Outrage from this Reshiram, and oh my goodness, look how many times it was reprinted. Many times. But it's still a good attack. 20 damage plus 10 more for each damage counter on this Pokemon, which means that if your opponent does 120 but doesn't get a KO, you're hitting for 140. This makes Reshiram what I like to call a wall. Kind of like Tauros. You stick him up, and it's not necessarily to attack, although the fact you're doing it for a double colourless energy really helps here. But you stick him up there just as a kind of, you know what? If you can't get a one-hit KO, I'm hitting you back harder next turn. And this works really well with hit-and-run Pokemon. Think Alolan Sandslash. Now, we've had some really good hit-and-run Pokemon in the past, like Donphan. We don't really have any at the moment, but history of the game dictates we're going to have more printed in the future, so when they do, keep an eye out for Reshiram. The other option, if you're not using him as a wall and you're not using him for a hit-and-run Pokemon, is to combine him with something like Dugtrio. Attack with Dugtrio, which was reprinted in Generations. Do 10 damage to all of your bench Pokemon. Keep damaging Reshiram, keep damaging Reshiram, keep damaging Reshiram, and then, ladies and gentlemen, you can Outrage for a whole bunch of damage. And actually, at the moment, fighting's a really good type to have, with cards like Drampa and Zoroark running around. Problem is that back in the day with the old Reshiram, you also had Zekrom for lightning weakness and Kyurem for water weakness. So people did play all 3 of what we called the dragons with Dugtrio. Nowadays you've only got Reshiram and it's not as good. Now the second attack does 130 damage and means a Pokemon cannot attack next turn. It is literally Volcanion's attack, which is better than the old Blue Flare attack, because if I'm doing 130 for free energy, I would rather not be able to attack, because I can just switch to another Pokemon or play a Pokemon Ranger, than discard 2 energy. In Expanded, with Blacksmith, discarding 2 energy is great, because you can just Blacksmith it back on. But in Standard, it's not an option you have. As a side note here, if you're using a fire deck in Expanded, either Reshiram is fine because you've got Blacksmith, but in Standard, I really like this attack. It's very good. I personally prefer it to the old Reshiram second attack, but of course Blacksmith really did help to mitigate that very nicely indeed. Now, you can, of course, use Choice Band and Volcanion EX to get the damage going, and this could actually make Reshiram a really good attacker. Because with a Choice Band and 1 Steam Up, you're now doing 190, which is enough to KO any EX or basic GX, even the big boys like Zygarde and Lapras. With a second steam up and a choice band, you're now hitting 220, which is enough to KO any Stage 1 GX, even a Lowland Muck, who's breaking the record with 220. And if you get 3 steam ups here, combined with a choice band, you're actually hitting 250, which is enough to KO any Pokemon in the format. That, ladies and gentlemen, is really good. And let me be nice and clear about this. If you're using a fire deck with Volcanion, you might as well just play one Reshiram. Because as a non-GX attacker, he's great. And what's everyone using as a non-GX attacker at the moment? Baby Volcanion. Hey, Nick. But the thing is, he only does 100, which means an extra steam up. Now, I know that Volcanion's got Power Heater, which is amazing, but Reshiram does the damage for 1 fewer steam ups, and that can be crucial. And I think there could be games here where turn 1, you use Kiawe to put free energy on a Reshiram, and then you just use steam up and choice band to take big KO after big KO. You can win quick games with Reshiram. I don't think he's good enough to be a Pokemon on his own in a deck focused around him, because 130 HP, free energy, no blacksmith, I just think he's too expensive and too fragile. However, as a tech in fire decks, and I really do think Volcanion EX and the Steam Up are needed here, oh my goodness, I like him. Kiawe, Steam Up and Reshiram could be a brutal combo that wins some very, very quick games. And for that reason, I'm going to give Reshiram between 3 and 4 Wassies. It's tough having free energy on 130 HP Pokemon, but with Kiawe getting the energy on early, and especially Volcanion using Steam Up, the options here for taking several big KOs in a row with Reshiram are so good that I've got to give him a little bit of love. But if you disagree, that's what the comment section is there for. Go nuts, be nice. Make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie, and Twitch at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio for some live PTCG Radio action. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so at patreon.com/PTCGRadio. The most important thing as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.